We are back with a brand new video. In today's video, we're going to be doing a full first round mock draft again on this channel. You guys absolutely loved the last one, and you guys loved the video of me reacting to ESPN's mock draft after the lottery. So we're going to do another one, full first round. Y'all know the drill, fanspo.com mock draft simulator. This is the go-to website for mock drafts for me, especially for NBA. For football, it's like Pro Football Focus or something like that. But like for NBA, fanspo.com is a place to go. So this is like essentially what I would do if I was each GM, and this is like the segment of what I would do. Like I said, it's not what I'm predicting is gonna happen. I'm pretty sure like half of my picks are probably not even gonna happen in real life, but it's just what I would do if I was a GM. So let's get right into it, man. We're gonna use let's just use the NBA draft order and then the ESPN draft board. Let's start the draft. We obviously don't want any of these ads on their screen, but I guess we're gonna have to deal with them. With the first overall pick, the Orlando Magic select. Now this is very interesting. Obviously, for you guys who did not watch the last mock draft, I did have them taking Chet, but I have switched it up here as soon as my last video was made, which was I think a couple of days ago. I made a video about this guy and why I think he should go number one. As you guys can see here, the team needs, they have all the team needs here. They have everyone who's the depth chart. They have their contracts, all that stuff. I'm gonna go with the surprise. Like I said, I haven't seen a lot of this guy going number one, but I think he should go number one, and I'm gonna explain why. It's going to be Paolo Banchero. For me, it's going to be Paolo Banchero with the number one overall pick. And the reason for that is Paolo Banchero, I'm a huge fan of. I think that Paolo Banchero is an absolute stud. And I do think that Paolo Banchero is a guy that the Orlando Magic can use, because when you look through all their young talent and the accumulation of young talent that they've gotten across the last 4 or 5 years, they have a lot of guys like Jonathan Isaac, Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs, Cole Anthony, Mo Bamba, Wendell Carter, RJ Hampton, Chuma Okeke. I can go on and on. They have a lot of young talent, but none of those guys are really number one go-to guys or scoring options in my opinion. I think that Paolo Banchero is the best scorer in the draft coming right out of the gate. He can give you 18 to 20 a night right out of the gate in his first season, and that's what Orlando is missing in my opinion. I think they have a lot of guys defensively who you can put around Paolo. He's not the best defender in the draft class. He's not as good as Jabari or Chet on the defensive end, which is why a lot of people have him at 3, but I do believe he's the best offensive player in the draft class. So I'm gonna go with Paolo Banchero at number 1. At number 2, we got OKC, and this is very interesting, man. It's between Chet and Jabari. In real life, I think the Magic will go with either one of these guys number 1, and then the OKC Thunder will go with the other number 2, and I think Paolo will fall to 3. But as far as who should go number 2, this is very interesting. I'm gonna actually go with Jabari Smith Jr. at number 2, and the reason for that is I do think that the OKC Thunder could use his floor spacing ability next to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Josh Giddey is not the best floor spacer. Lou Dort is an improving shooter, but I really like Jabari Smith's outside shooting and scoring ability next to their backcourt. And he's also a very big presence. He's also a guy that I'm a lot closer to than Chet, because I've seen Jabari's game and I predicted his jump, and I watched him even before he committed to Auburn. So he's a lot more closer to me than Chet. I think Chet's going to be a stud, but it's crazy that in my mock draft Chet is falling to 3, but that's just how I look at it. Chet to the Rockets is really nice though. I don't think they need any more like go-to scorers. They have Jalen Green, who I really like. I think that Jabari would have fit really well alongside Jalen Green as a complementary piece, but I think Chet will do a lot of the little things and be a very talented offensive and defensive player to put alongside in the front court, whether it's Şengün or Woods. So Chet will be the 3rd pick for me. But number 4, Sacramento Kings. I already expressed why I did not want to go Jaden Ivey here before, so I'm gonna go with wow, they got Dyson Daniels up here, so the ESPN has updated their draft boards. Okay, I see. I'm gonna actually go, you know what? This is so interesting, man, because I think it's between 2 guys for me. It's between Keegan Murray and Shaedon Sharpe. I went with Shaedon Sharpe on my last mock draft, and the reason is I really liked his skill and his upside. Putting him next to De'Aaron Fox, he can play off the ball, but he can also play on the ball. He can do a little bit of both, and I think he fits really well next to Fox. So you know what? I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go with Shaedon Sharpe. It might be a little high in your guys' opinion. He's not really played too much college ball, but I wouldn't mind Keegan Murray or Shaedon Sharpe. I just like Shaedon Sharpe a lot better with next to Fox, in my opinion. I really like Shaedon Sharpe's fit next to Fox. I don't like Jaden Ivey's fit next to Fox. I already talked about that. I think Jaden Ivey, he's not a I mean, it says he's a point guard, but he played some 2 at Purdue. He's gonna need the ball in his hands. I don't think, you know, you can coexist in a backcourt with Ivy and Fox the best, in my opinion. So I'm gonna go Shaedon Sharpe here. I know they have Davion, but again, Davion and Fox backcourt is atrocious to me. They're 2 point guards. Davion's not the best outside shooter, neither is Fox. Shaedon Sharpe can definitely shoot the ball, so I'm gonna go Shaedon Sharpe at 4. He can also play the 3 if you need him to. At number 5, Detroit goes Ivy here. Very simple pick for me. I think him and Cade will be really nice. I think Cade can play off the ball, as we've seen this year a little bit. And I do think that, you know, he can run the show, but he can also defer to Ivy if you need to. And Cade is just a very high IQ player that I think there's not that many players that cannot coexist with him, because his IQ and his, you know, feel for the game is so high that he almost works with any player. So I'm gonna go Jaden Ivey, the best player remaining, so he'll go number 5. At 6, Keegan Murray, like I said, seems like an Indiana guy. Low maintenance, can stretch the floor. I really like the fit with him and Tyrese Halliburton. You got him next to Miles Turner. Defensively, I like that front court, and Keegan and Miles can both space the floor. Reminds me a lot of Tobias Harris. Yeah, I'm gonna go Keegan at number 6. At number 7, this is where things get a little interesting. I think the top 6 is pretty set in stone. I don't think there's going to be much movement between, you know, who goes, like who are the top 6 guys. I think the top 6 guys are set. It's just a matter of who goes 1 through 6 in what order. But I think the top 6 guys are pretty much set in stone. 7, the Blazers could go in a lot of different directions here. It's really between these 2 for me, AJ Griffin and Ben Mathurin. I don't want to go with Jalen Duren for them, because I'm a big believer that they're going to go out and get DeAndre Ayton in free agency. So, and I think they're going to have at least either bring back Nurkic or get back Ayton, or get Ayton from the Suns. So I don't really want to go with Jalen Duren at number 7, but it's really between AJ Griffin and Ben Mathurin for me. So you know what? I'm going to go with AJ Griffin. I went with AJ Griffin prior. So yeah, I'm gonna go with AJ Griffin at what is this, number 7? Yeah, to the Portland Trailblazers. Really like his outside shooting ability. His floor spacing is gonna be really nice next to Dame and Anthony Simons. You already have Nasir Little, who can also space the floor as well. I think his defense is the only like question mark here and there, but I really like AJ Griffin's outside shot, and he's shown ability to create a shot off the dribble as well. I've seen a lot of Jimmy Butler comparisons. Not the biggest fan of those, but I do see a little bit of tendencies here and there. He's a strictly 3-and-D type player, but his defense is not as good as his offense, if you get what I mean. So AJ Griffin will be number 7 to me. At number 8, we got the New Orleans Pelicans. I might actually go with Benedict Mathurin here. I think I'm going to go with Benedict Mathurin here. And the reason is I do think that Ben Mathurin can fit really well alongside Zion, Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum. He's my favorite player in the draft, because I just think that he'll just come in day one, and I think he can be like a very good scorer. I think a lot of people just label him as a shooter, but I think his off the dribble game is a lot better than people give him credit for. So I'm gonna go Ben Mathurin at number 8 to the New Orleans Pelicans. And then at number 9 here, there was a twist. I did go with Jalen Duren earlier. I'm not gonna do that now. You know, I really do think the Spurs might be content with Jakob Poeltl, and I do think that you need a consistent number 2 guy to put next to DeJounte Murray in the backcourt, which is why I'm going with Johnny Davis. I'm switching it up and going with Johnny Davis. I really like Johnny Davis's game, man. I'm a huge fan of his game. I think that Johnny Davis is a guy that I don't think he gets a lot of recognition. I mean, he did earlier, but like he hasn't been talked about a lot in the combine and stuff like that. And he's fallen off a lot of draft boards, but I'm a really big fan of his pull-up game. He's just a very fluid scorer, and I do think that he has a lot of Devin Booker tendencies. Defensively, I think he's also very underrated as well. He's a stud, man. I think the Spurs would love to pair him alongside DeJounte in the backcourt, so I'm going to go with Johnny Davis. You have a nice little lineup of DeJounte, Johnny Davis, Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, and then probably Poeltl at the center position. And then at 10, I think this is probably a very good pick for the Washington Wizards. Dyson Daniels has been going up a lot of draft boards. I still don't get the top 5 pick hype. Like I like Dyson Daniels' game, but I don't know about top 5 pick. Like, let's slow down here. But he's a very smart player. Reminds me a lot of Lonzo Ball. He's big. For a point guard, he can switch multiple positions defensively. That's probably, defensively is his biggest strength in my opinion. But he's also shown great playmaking ability, and he's showing signs of stretching the floor in the combine. So Dyson Daniels will go at number 10 to the Wizards. And then at number 11, this is where Jalen Duren will go to the Knicks. You really don't have any certainty about that center position. Mitchell Robinson, there's been concerns with his injury. He's a free agent. And there's been some concerns, man. There's been some concerns about the injury issues, attitude, stuff like that. And I think Nerlens is walking as well. I think Jalen Duren will be a great fit in New York. I really like him. As a guy who could just do a lot of little things. He's a very athletic player, but he can also protect the rim. And his passing out of that short roll is very underrated to me. So I'm going to go with Jalen Duren at 11 to the Knicks. I think a front court in the future with him and Obi Toppin will look really nice. At number 12, we got the OKC Thunder here. And earlier, I think I took Ousmane Dieng at number 12. I'm actually going to go with Jeremy Sohan. I'm going to go with Jeremy Sohan at number 12. I'm a huge fan of Sohan's game. I think, him and Jabari, I really like that. I think Jabari can play some 5 small ball if you need him to. You can have Sohan play the 4. But I really like Jeremy Sohan with the OKC Thunder, man. I think he's a great cutter. He can pass the ball. He can stretch the floor. He does a lot of little things. He's a very good Swiss Army knife for. And then at number 3, the Hornets are going to go with Mark Williams here. Probably the most set in stone pick in the draft for me. I think that, you got to go with Mark Williams here. He's a great pickup. I think he's a guy who can just, I think his frame or his standing reach or vertical or something like that was absolutely crazy at the combine when they measured it. And he's a freak of nature, man. He's a guy who can protect the rim, block shots, run the floor. He's just a center that the Hornets have been looking for. The Hornets, we always mock a center to the Hornets. They never take one. They're going to take Mark Williams in my mock draft. So Mark Williams will go number 13. And then at 14, Cleveland will take Ochai Agbaji as they did before. Great fit for my opinion. I think that he can play in the backcourt. If you needed to put him at the 2, he can also play the 3. Just a guy who can just be a catch and shoot player. Desmond Bane of the draft, like I said before, very NBA ready. He's a senior, so he knows his role. He's not going to try to do anything out of his role, and he's going to a team that's playoff pushing. So Ochai Agbaji really fits the Cavaliers for me. At number 15, we got the Hornets again. And this is interesting. This is very interesting. Here, I think I'm going to go with Ousmane Dieng or Ousmane Dieng, whatever you want to call him. But I'm actually going to go. I'm going to go with him here. I'm a huge fan of his game. Like I said before, I just really like his upside, man. I'm a huge fan of his upside. So Ousmane will go at number 15 here. He's just a very raw prospect, but I think he will shine in in Charlotte. At number 16, the Atlanta Hawks will select Malachi Branham at number 16. I think that you need a guy who can play alongside Trey, take the pressure off of him. Malachi is the best option for me, so you're going to go with him at number 16. And at 17, Ty Washington is perfect for the Houston Rockets. They need a true point guard. Not a big fan of Kevin Porter Jr. experiment. I think you need a guy who can facilitate. We've seen a lot of Kentucky guys who've sacrificed because they played with a lot of good players at Kentucky, and they didn't really show how good they could be. I think Ty has a lot more to his game than he showed, and I do think that guys like Hero, guys like Jamal Murray, guys like Tyrese Maxey, guys like Bam Adebayo, Devin Booker, these Kentucky guys, man, they come into the league and show something different. So Ty will go as number 17 for me. At 18, you got the Chicago Bulls. I'm going to have them, I think I had them selecting, I don't know who I had them selecting before, but I think I had them selecting Walker Kessler, but I'm going to go with EJ Liddell. I think he really fits what the Bulls need. It's between EJ Liddell and Tari Eason for me. I just missed Tari Eason completely. Tari Eason is a very good player, but I think that he's very similar to Patrick Williams, which is why I'm going to go with EJ Liddell at 18. Like I said, man, just a very good Swiss Army knife for. Reminds me of a lot of PJ Tucker. He's a do-it-all guy. He can defend, knock down shots, play in the pick and roll. Very high IQ player, really good high IQ player. And then Tari Eason will go 19 to the Timberwolves, as he did in the last mock draft. a really good defensive player to put alongside Cat if you need him to. He will definitely bring a lot more defense to that team, which I really do think is one of their weaknesses apart from Pat Bev and like Jared Vanderbilt. So Tari Eason will go at number 19. At number 20, we got the San Antonio Spurs. Man, this is really interesting. And I did have them taking Johnny Davis earlier. So, I might have them going with the center, in case they probably need one. So I think, I think I'm going to have to do it, man. I'm going to have to go with Walker Kessler at number 20. I'm going to have to go with Walker Kessler at number 20. So just because I think that's the only other like big void of theirs, which is a center. And I think he's probably the best center available. So Walker Kessler will go at number 20. At number 21, I had the Nuggets going with Marjon Beauchamp. I'm switching it up, man. We're going with my biggest riser and probably my biggest sleeper of the draft. Jalen Williams will go at number 21 to the Nuggets. He's a guy who can play at his own pace. Reminds me a lot of Paul Pierce, where nothing really speeds him up, man. Even like Luka in that same way. I'm not saying he's going to be Luka, but I'm saying in that same way where nothing really speeds him up. He plays at his own pace, and he can score at all three levels. Like, he's a stud. I'm a huge fan of Jalen Williams. At number 22, we got the Memphis Grizzlies here. Where's my guy? I'm gonna actually go. I don't know what just happened here. I'm gonna go Jaden Hardy if I can even find him. He's 33, which I think is mighty low. Jaden Hardy's going to go number 22. I think a guy next to Ja who can really score the ball and play, just be like a guy who can take over down the stretch if you need him to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think sometimes the Grizzlies run out of options when Ja is not going, because I think Desmond Bane, as good of a season that he had, I think he's more of a, I think he's more of a catch and shoot player than an off the ball or on the ball, like create his own shot type of guy. I think that's what the Grizzlies are missing next to Ja. So Jaden Hardy's the guy that I'm going to go with. At number 23, we're actually going to go with Marjon Beauchamp out of the G League Ignite to the Nuggets. I'm a huge fan of Marjon Beauchamp's, man. I really like Marjon Beauchamp. I think he's a very good, pick for the Brooklyn Nets. He can defend, which is something that they really, really need. And he's just going to be a high-level athlete, high-motor guy. Every championship could use a guy like Marjon Beauchamp. So Marjon Beauchamp will go at number 23. And then number 24, we got the Milwaukee Bucks. And this is actually very interesting to me. Like, you could go a lot of different ways here. But you know what? I'm going to actually go with Blake Wesley. I'm going to go with Blake Wesley at number 24. Yep, Blake Wesley at number 24. Another guy who can be like a 3-and-D type player for them. So yeah, I really like Blake Wesley at number 24. At number 25, we got the Spurs, and here I'm going to have them going with Bryce McGowens, who's a 6'6" shooting guard out of Nebraska. Very good scorer. I think he's a guy who can fill it up. Him and Johnny Davis will be really good additions to that scoring lineup that they have, which I don't think the Spurs are the best scoring team, which is why I had two guys who can score the ball here. At 26, we got the Mavericks here. I really wanted them to take a center, but I think Nikola Jovic is just sitting right here for them to take. And I think this is a guy that either the Spurs or the Mavericks will take, in my opinion. So I'm going to go with him to the Mavericks. I think that they could, make use of a guy like him for sure. At number 27, the Miami Heat are here. I think they will need a point guard. I really think that EJ Liddell or someone like that is very ideal. I wouldn't even be opposed to a guy like Patrick Baldwin Jr. going at number 27 to the Heat. But I think they need a point guard, especially because Kyle Lowry is getting up there in age. And Gabe Vincent to me is more of a 2 than a 1. He's like more of a he's more of a scorer than a playmaker. So I'm gonna go with Kennedy Chandler. I'm a huge fan of his. I think he has very high upside. He defensively plays a lot bigger than what he is. Offensively, he gives you a lot more as well. So Kennedy Chandler will go at number 27. And then 28, 29, and 30. This is very interesting. For the Golden State Warriors, I'm actually going to go with Terquavion Smith. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go with Terquavion Smith. I think Terquavion Smith is a guy that a lot of teams would love. He's another riser, NC State shooting guard. He can definitely space the floor, which is, I think, one of their biggest strengths, the Warriors. But anytime they just add a guy who can space the floor, it just becomes even more deadly. And they're in the finals right now. So adding a guy like Takravion Smith to a team that potentially may win a championship is really nice to me. So he'll go at number 20 or 28. And at 29 and 30, I'm going to have the Memphis Grizzlies. You know what? I'm going to have them going with, where's this guy? Where is this guy? Patrick Baldwin Jr. Patrick Baldwin Jr. at number 29. And then Kendall Brown at number 30. Just because I think Patrick Baldwin Jr. he had a slow college year at Minnesota because I don't think he was used right. But I think a team like the Grizzlies could develop him. They've developed a lot of really good players recently. And then the OKC Thunder can get a guy like Kendall Brown, who's another project. But I do think that, you know, he reunites with his teammate in Jeremy Sohan. And, you know, they do add front court depth, which I think they really, really need. Notice I didn't take any guards for the Thunder because I think that they're pretty much set on guards with Shea, Giddey, Trey Mann, Dort. That's why I went with, what's his name? Kendall Brown at number 30 to the Thunder. And that is my mock draft. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you guys drop a like, subscribe, comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are about this. There's a lot of interchangeable pieces here and there, I understand, but it's only my opinion. I'll see y'all later as always. Peace.